I feel like we just spend a lot of time talking about Ross Coulthart at the moment, but that's because he's coming out with some of the most outlandish claims and things I've ever seen. And he's now also going on to talk about the New Jersey and Denmark drone incursions, stating that they're possibly shapeshifters, and then also going on to essentially call out Skywatchers, who are doing a lot of work with trying to, progress the UAP topic. So we're going to be diving into all of that today. Before we get into it though, be sure to drop a like and subscribe. I'm trying to keep you up to date as best I can with all of the UAP news and things that are coming out. But let's get into it, because obviously, like I say, the drone incursions are one of the biggest things to come out from 2020, not just 2024, but also 2025, because obviously it happened in New Jersey starting towards the end of last year, progressed into the early of this year, and then now we're starting to see it in Denmark, and people are freaking out about it because it's like, are these foreign adversaries, or is this something otherworldly? Well, this is what Ross Coulthart has to say with regards... Now, he's already stated, by the way, that he doesn't believe that the situation in Denmark is drones at all. He thinks it's something else. Something else. He states that he knows this from information that he's got from sources, but he never shows those sources, which is kind of upsetting a lot of people. Anyway, I've waffled on.
Viewer Andrew reached out to us on X. He said, Ross, do you believe the New Jersey drone incursions and the recent Denmark incursions are all related or connected? Asking because the drones are still flying over my house in New Jersey.
But what's really interesting is the correlation between the Copenhagen incident and, dare I say it, the slightly less frequent but still ongoing incursions in continental United States. Contrary to the disinformation that's being put out by certain agencies, this has not gone away. I am still in touch with people, including police and local government in New Jersey. They're telling me they're still seeing these objects. My friends John and Jerry Tedesco are still seeing these anomalous objects, including in the flight paths on the approach to Kennedy Airport at New York. This is serious, and this is why this matters. The whole issue of UAPs, of unidentified objects making incursions over secure airspace, especially crowded passenger airports like Copenhagen or JFK, New York. This raises really grave flight safety, national security concerns. And it's a huge concern when governments start defaulting to the explanation that it's the dastardly Ruskies, or as happened in New Jersey, the dastardly Chinese. Where is your bloody evidence? Why make these allegations without any proof? The simple fact is, I am being told by multiple sources, we have no idea what was responsible for the New Jersey incursions and the incursions that are still ongoing across different parts of the United States, including over military bases. I've spoken to somebody 2 days ago who's been sending me videos from Florida near Eglin Air Force Base. These incursions, whatever they are, may not necessarily be drones. There are people that have described to me seeing orb-like objects coming into airspace and then in some way morphing into shapes of aircraft. I have people that have shown me images of what look like the shapes of a 737 or a commercial passenger jet moving at impossibly slow speeds over parts of New Jersey and New York.
Now, I want to caveat this, right, before I say it, by saying I really like Ross Coulthart. I like the work that he does, and I think his intentions are in the right place. But the fact that in that same 2.5-minute video, he goes, where's your bloody evidence to support the claims that you're making about this being drones and all the rest of it? Or blaming the Chinese and the Russians. And then to caveat that and say, I'm being told that these orbs are shape-shifting into drones or into the drone shapes with no evidence. I'm sorry, what? Like, that was a bit of a, like, switch up. Do you know what I mean? Like, bold claims being made, being called out by Ross Coulthart fairly, to then make bold claims with no backup, kind of a crazy switch up to me. I don't know. Like I say, I really like Ross Coulthart, but this has become an increasing thing with him. Is there's so much said with such little evidence to back up these very humongous claims that I'm like, what? Do you know what I mean? Anyway, moving forwards from that, Ross Coulthart confirms that Skywatchers are still active, and he's also stated, well, he basically states some frustration with the lack of transparency from them. So he's basically just called out Skywatchers, even though they're all supposed to be on the same side and working together. And this comes from one of his latest reality check episodes. Take a little listen to this.
Email from Mark that came in. In a video on YouTube, it is claimed that the Skywatcher program actually got a UAP to land in the presence of NASA. Have you heard anything about this from any of your sources? There didn't seem to be anything about it on Skywatcher website last time I checked. This is something you may want to ask the people at Skywatcher about and maybe even offer to do an interview with them. Hopefully this would be something that they can agree to and not be restricted by any NDAs.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. Look, I have heard about an incident which I have not been told about officially. I'm aware that 2 psionic operators went off on their own. They weren't wearing cameras, they weren't carrying any kind of video equipment, and in the course of an encounter, a summoning that they were trying to do privately, an object, a craft, did apparently land in front of them. I'm assuming that this story is being held back by Alex Clokus and Skywatcher for what I'm told we can expect to be the next installment of their videos that they're producing, which they often put up online. They've put two or three previous videos up online, and this next one's meant to be on psionics. So I've invited Alex Clokus, Skywatcher, multiple times. We have an open invitation to Skywatcher to appear. I do think, in the interests of public disclosure, it would be great to get somebody from Skywatcher on at some stage to talk about what they're up to, because it's one of the things we get questions about more than most. People are really interested and excited and happy to see that there is an organisation that's properly funded, that's doing good work investigating UAPs. And they have, including to me, made multiple promises about being transparent and open. And I am, like everyone else, getting frustrated with the degree of secrecy surrounding the Skywatcher operation. I can only assume it's because they want to make their own films and do their own media, and we welcome that, but it would be great at some stage to get Alex Clokus, Jake, anybody else from Skywatcher who's interested in coming on and talking, to actually talk about what they've been doing, especially with the psionics. And yes, we've heard about this incident involving an alleged landing. Carl Crusher mentioned it to me when we were doing the work with Magic Mike Batista a few weeks ago, and we really haven't heard any more. Love to hear more.
There you go. Now, over on Twitter, this is where it was posted, right, by Skywatcher's Signal. They posted the clip, they posted this little bit, the sources and all the rest of it, and within the comments, they kind of vent a little bit. Ross is frustrated with someone else's lack of transparency. This is an irony. Ross didn't start the UFO hunting campaign and claim to be totally transparent. Someone said boring, they laughed about it. We can agree this is complex, many points can be deceived. If we assume crafts can be mentally controlled, psychological manipulation can also be achieved. Then we also assume the parts of the piece of manipulation. That would be easy for those who know how to. Start from the top, what we assume to be the top with government, and then ask yourself who controls them, and then all the rest of it. And all, you know, they kind of continue to go on about it. Now, this is obviously the bits about NASA, obviously, with regards to apparently having a spacecraft psychologically controlled and brought down in front of NASA, which in itself is a bit of a mindfuck, but that's where we're at, ladies and gentlemen. So what do you guys make of the recent claims by Ross Coulthart, the recent things that have been stated, and the recent call-outs from Ross Coulthart? Do you agree? Do you disagree? Let me know why down in the comments. While you're down there, jump to get the hell out of that like button and subscribe, and until next time, I'll speak to you later. Peace.